All right, Cal, this is one of my favorite topics, and you've kind of talked about it a little bit in our previous conversations, but it's influencers sometimes come in a moment, right time, right place. Sometimes they come a lifetime. When I speak, I share about my grandfather, who him, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt were from Kiev, and they came over. My mom was young at the time to Canada, but he used to take me for walks in the park in Montreal when I was 5, and he talked to everybody, which is clearly where I must be getting it from, the DNA there. And but one day I asked him, I called him Zeta, how do you know all these people? And he said to me, he actually pointed, he said to me, see that guy over there? I smiled at him and he looked up and smiled back at me and he came over, he started talking to me and we started becoming friends. And then someone else saw us laughing and smiling and came over to us. And I'm thinking as a 5-year-old, pretty easy. I just got to smile at people and everything. And as you get older, you try to complicate it, but it's not complicated. It's about smiling and that whole thing that goes with that. So big influencer for me, and we all have many, but can you share two or three people that have been influential in your life? And I certainly know you're like your dad's going to be one of the conversations here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I try to I try to think about who else and all of that. Obviously, my guide Faisal is it has a huge influence on me in terms of helping me see things that I can't see or that I wasn't able to see, and getting the tools to continue to see. So it's amazing where I've got 20/20 vision and sometimes I don't see. It's right in front of me, now we're talking about vision. And I think Faisal Muqaddam was one of these people who has an absolutely um, amazing insight into human nature and compassion and helping people in all at all levels. So he is an amazing. He continues to be a friend and an amazing influence. Not only for me. I mean, I'm privileged that I consider myself his friend, but he has helped thousands and thousands of people. My dad definitely, and I can tell you why my dad has a special place in my heart, because he never set me down and tried to teach me stuff. This is what compassion is, this is what this. But I think he was teaching me without me knowing, by going through the experiences with him. And maybe in one of the sequels we can talk a little bit about, and I list some of these examples in the book. It's an old book, but I talk about some of the experiences where he didn't have to say anything. Just he's doing things and you go like, oh, this is how things are done, because he's your dad and you respect him and all of that.
Hmm.
And many, many, many things. Every single one of them I picked in the book. I picked very specific experiences I had with him and related to whether it's compassion, whether it's meditation. All of these things he was teaching me. He never called it meditation, by the way. He used to call it listen to your bones. He said, sit and listen to your bones.
See,
So
sometimes putting a title, a category, or whatnot just doesn't work. It just has to be.
that's it. I tell you, absolutely right. So I think those things, Dr. Eugene Goldberg had a huge influence on me. I had a lot of respect for him as a scientist, but that was like uh, an incredibly small contribution that he made for me to my professional and personal life, and things that he taught me. Again, same thing. He never told me do this or do that. I remember asking him about uh, jobs and things like that. And he would never tell me do this or work for this or work for that. He'll say, you know what? I can tell you based on my experience, if you work, for instance, for a small company, your contribution will show. For a big company, you can hide behind someone, make your pick. I mean, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I wish one of these days I can write this stuff down. All and again, a lot of this stuff is uh, it's retrospective. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's now that I'm a little bit more mature, I understand myself better, I can go back and make sense out of a lot of these things. And that includes the book. That includes my father's left hand was based on that. And now I was sitting, and in fact, the way the book was published was interesting. Um, I had written all of this stuff in one book. A friend of mine who's a publisher came in and started looking at it. He goes, "Oh man, you should publish this. I'll help you." I said, "Nah, I write this for my stuff." He said, "No, go ahead and do it." And sure enough, so we donated all the proceed to charity. But it's a small book, and a lot of people, it resonated with a lot of people, you know. So those are, I would say, the three people, not in any particular order,
Right. No,
who
that's that.
really influenced me.
Yeah, that's great. And it's funny you say you look back and as kids we can be rebellious and this and that and whatever, but then you always look back and say, man, I'm turned into my father, or wow, now I understand what he was talking about, right? And all that stuff. So thank you for sharing that. It's brilliant stuff. And yeah, I really appreciate you sharing it.
Pleasure.